We hear the word sustainability thrown around all the time. But what does it actually mean? Is it just a buzzword? Some kind of checklist for companies? Well, in this explainer, we're going to peel back the layers and show you that real sustainability, it's not about little fixes at all. It's about a fundamental rewiring of our entire world.
Okay, let's kick things off with this really powerful idea from the philosopher Jordy Pidgeon. See, he's saying we don't just need some tweaks here and there, we need a transformation of our consciousness. And that's really what we're talking about today. Not just changing the system, but getting a whole new way of seeing the world and our part in it.
So, what's at the core of the issue? Well, it boils down to a really simple but kind of tough fact. Our whole economic model, the one we've used for centuries, is built on this idea of unlimited growth. But think about it. How do you have unlimited growth on a planet with limited resources? You can't. It's a logical impossibility. And that means the old playbook, it's officially obsolete.
So this slide really lays out the two different roads we can take. For ages, we've been on this one-way street, a linear model. You take resources, you make something, and then you waste it. It's a dead end. A truly sustainable model, though, it's completely different. It actually gets its inspiration from nature. It's cyclical. We borrow materials, use them, and then return them, designing things in a way that the whole idea of waste doesn't even exist.
All right, so we know there's a problem. How have businesses tried to tackle it? Let's dive into some of the first attempts. And you'll see why, even with the best intentions, they just don't go far enough.
Okay, here's something that trips a lot of people up. The difference between what's called corporate social responsibility, or CSR, and real sustainability. The easiest way to think about it is like this. CSR is kind of like a bandage. It's reactive. You put a patch on a problem after it's already happened. But sustainability? That's proactive. It's not some side gig or a PR project. It's a complete redesign of the business from the ground up.
Another idea that got really popular is the triple bottom line. And look, this was a huge step forward at the time. It was the idea that companies shouldn't just be tracking profit. They should also be looking at their impact on people and the planet. For a lot of businesses, this was the first real way they started to think about their wider role in the world. But the triple bottom line has some serious limitations. What's the biggest issue? Right there at the top. How do you put a dollar value on a clean river or a healthy community? It's almost impossible. And when you try, you risk ending up with these separate, feel-good projects that aren't connected to the core business. You basically turn sustainability into just another accounting problem to be solved.
Okay, so if checklists and simple accounting tricks don't work, then what does? Well, the answer is all about a big shift in perspective. We have to stop looking at isolated actions and start understanding the entire system.
And the very first step is to get your head around this super simple but really profound idea. A company is not an island. It's not separate from the world. It's totally embedded in society, caught in this complex web of relationships where everything it does affects the world. And in turn, the world affects it.
And that web, it has a name. We call them stakeholders. Stakeholders are, anyone and everyone affected by what a company does. We're talking employees, customers, suppliers, the government, the local community, you name it. And as you can see here, they all form this intricate network. The needs and actions of every single one of them influence what a company is able to do and what it can't.
Okay, now let's zoom out even more. What you're seeing here is a model of what researchers call a socio-ecological system. Now, don't get bogged down by the fancy term or all the labels. Just look at the big picture. You've got the social system on the left, that's us, our society, our businesses, and you've got the ecological system on the right, that's the planet. The absolute key thing to get here is that they are not separate. They are one single, deeply interconnected system.
All right, so we can see the system now, right? We see how complex it is. But seeing it is one thing. Changing it, that's a whole different ballgame. So the question becomes, where are the most powerful levers for change? Where can we push to get real, lasting transformation?
And this right here, this is the million-dollar question. If sustainability is all about the whole system, where on earth do you even begin? We need to find the levers, right? The sweet spots where a little bit of effort can create a massive amount of change. Where do we focus our energy to get the most bang for our buck?
So when researchers dig into how these big, complex systems actually change, they find that two levers are way more powerful than anything else. The first one? Changing the mindsets and the culture inside the system. And the second one, which is totally tied to the first, is all about transforming how information flows through that system.
So let's talk about that first lever, mindset. This is huge. Honestly, the biggest roadblock is often right between our ears. As long as a company sees sustainability as just a cost they have to manage, nothing's really going to change. The real transformation happens when that light bulb goes off and they start to see it as a core driver of innovation, of resilience, of creating new kinds of value.
So how do you change a mindset? Well, you change the conversation. The old way of doing things, a company puts out some glossy annual report that, let's be honest, nobody actually reads. That's dead. It's over. The new way of doing things needs an active, two-way dialogue. It's about listening, it's about learning, it's about actually working with everyone in that stakeholder web to create solutions together.
And listen, this whole idea of a new two-way conversation, it's not just some abstract theory. There's been a massive technological shift that's created the perfect stage for this to happen, like on a global scale.
What am I talking about? Web 2.0. This was the huge evolution of the internet, right? From that early static version where we all just kind of sat back and consumed content to the dynamic, super interactive web we're all a part of today. It turned every single user into a potential creator, a collaborator, and it completely changed the game for how information gets shared. Suddenly, platforms like Twitter, Facebook, all of social media, they became the new town square, the arena for this huge system-wide conversation. And all of a sudden, all those stakeholders, the customers, the community members, the activists, they had this incredibly powerful and cheap way to share info, to organize, and to hold companies accountable. And they could do it on a scale that would have been totally unimaginable just a few years before.
Okay, but let's be real. Do people actually care about this stuff? Is anyone listening to this conversation? Well, this case study from a Spanish retailer called Eroski gives us a pretty clear yes. They looked at their social media and found that, yeah, product contests got good engagement, but the stuff that got the highest engagement, the posts that were shared and commented on the most, it was their content about sustainability initiatives. So the audience isn't just ready for this conversation, they are actively and loudly asking for it.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together. We've gone from simple checklists to seeing these giant, complex systems. From one-way corporate reports to a massive global conversation. So what does all this mean for the future? And more importantly, what does it mean for you?
This image here, I think it really gets to the heart of it. I mean, look at this network. It is complex. It's messy. But this is reality. Every single one of those little dots, a government, a company, a university, a community, an individual, they're all connected. And every single part influences every other part.
And this leads us to the most important takeaway of all. Real, deep, transformative change, it doesn't come from one single point. There's no single hero, no magic policy that's going to fix everything. Instead, it emerges from the system itself. It bubbles up from the millions of connections and conversations and choices that are being made every single day, all across this entire network.
And so we're going to end with a question for you. Because this transformation, it's not some far-off thing that's going to happen someday. It is happening right now. The network is alive, the conversation is already going. And you, as a consumer, as an employee, a citizen, a creator, you are a node in the system. You're already part of it. So the only real question left is, what's your role going to be?